Hi everyone, and welcome to our English acquiring and topic discussing channel. Yes, in this video, again, we're gonna go on talking about the historical heritage that passed down from generation to generation. Okay, yes, this time we shall focus on the literature history. Yes, literature, literal heritage. Okay, all right. Anyway, yes, again, let's try to improve our English speaking by making use of uh, every single page of this presentation as a clue. Okay, yes, the dialogue one. When it comes to literature, yes, when it comes to history, for example, when it comes to economy, when it comes to politics, when it comes uh, to English, yeah. Okay, when it comes to literature, I remember books which are considered as art, yes, as pieces of art, works of art. What do you remember when it comes to literature? When it comes to literature, I immediately remember works of thought. Yes, books about philosophy. What else do you remember when it comes to literature? I also remember the novels when it comes to literature. Yes. I also remember poetry and symbols when it comes to literature. Now, a poem, again, the first part of the poem by ChatGPT, and we will read the second part at the end of the video. Okay, Beitul Hikmah, the house of wisdom, a beacon of light. In Baghdad's embrace, knowledge took flight. From spoken tales to written grace, from tangible works to intangible works, from concrete works to abstract works. Literature's journey through time and space. Yeah, this is a really useful expression. Time and space, or time and terrain. Yes, literature's journey through time and space. An anthology of Istanbul novels should be compiled. What other kind of anthology about Istanbul should be compiled? Also, of course, the written forms of architecture should also be compiled. Who is a compiler? A compiler is a person, is an expert who compiles the valuable pieces of art, pieces of literature. The image says, the best books for exploring and understanding Istanbul. That water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. It means the fact that water boils at 100 degrees centigrade is a scientific phenomenon. What type of phenomenons or phenomena are the high tide and low tide? Yes, they are natural phenomena. Or the high tide and low tide are natural phenomena or tidal phenomena, geographic phenomena. How can you define cultural phenomenon? We can define cultural phenomenon as symbolic occurrences. Yeah, the image is about low tide and high tide. Yes, have you ever experienced a phenomenon of a low tide and high tide? Yes, I have. For example, one day In fact, a few weeks ago, I went to the seaside and I noticed that there was a low tide. Yes, even I smelled the mud and soil there, and there were, for example, pieces of body of crabs, yes, which were eaten by herons, yeah, by herons, and the even my grandkid was about to touch them, and I warned him not to touch them because they were, or they could be sharp and jacky. Yeah, they could harm him. And then I set out. I set out to sea, and after 2 or 3 hours, when I came back again, I saw that there was high tide. Yes, and everything was normal again. Okay, so low tide and high tide are both of them are when the water is decreased, it is low tide, and when it increases again, the normal level, it is high tide. Okay. Dialogue for Steve Jobs changed the daily habits of millions around the world. Was he a historical or a recent phenomenon? Of course, Steve Jobs is a recent phenomenon. In fact, he has become a historical phenomenon. Okay. Well, there are a lot of images. Leaving LA mark and not a notch, a dent, a trace matters. Yeah, leaving a trace matters. Leaving a trace is important for an individual. What did Steve Jobs say? He said, "We are here to put a dent in the universe. Otherwise, why else even be here?" This is one of our purposes, to do something good for not only for ourselves, but for all the humanity, and even for our universe, our planet. Putting a dent in the universe, making a dent in the universe. Yes, both have the same message. Making a dent or putting a dent in the universe. That book describes historic monuments and places. Yes, Voices of Freedom, a documentary history by Eric Foner. Okay, can we consider it as a historical novel or a historical documentary? Yes, if it only describes historic monuments and places, then we can consider it as a historical documentary. But if there is fiction in it, then we can consider it as a historical novel. Working to protect the environment is vital, essential, is a must. Why is it also vital to work to protect our cultural heritage? Yes, it is also vital to work, to study, to protect our cultural heritage for the sake of cultural diplomacy. Yes, for the sake of cultural diversity, and even for the sake of human rights. Yes. So, to work to protect our cultural heritage is really vital because of education and inspiration. yes, education and inspiration. They can inspire us lots of things, lots of positive things. Okay. And they are also, all of them are useful, of course, for our education. Dialogue 7. Works of literature or pieces of literature are supposed to have high artistic value. What other aspects are they supposed to have? Of course, they are supposed to have uniqueness. Yes, besides having uniqueness, they should be, or they are supposed to be, let's say, they are supposed to be lasting. They are supposed to be scientific. They are supposed to be, or they are expected to be. They are expected to be ethical, or they should be ethical. Okay, low art, I am reading the image. High art, low art, lower value. Of course, high art has higher value. Yes, aesthetic, contemplation. Okay, fine art. Yeah, high art. A scientific study has to be objective. Does a literary study have to be objective or subjective? Of course, a literary study has to be subjective. Yes. Objective science and technology, literary studies. So, subjective literary studies. Okay. Gayet tek ölmemek in Turkish, in English. Aim is one, not to die. Yes, as Steve Jobs said, if you leave some traces, if you leave something useful for the other people, then as long as they remember you, it means that you are alive. Kinda, you are alive. So, is a gift from the world of words. Aim is one, not to die. Yes, to do something, not to die. This line of poem is a gift from the world of words. What about this? Which world is Mona Lisa a gift from? Of course, Mona Lisa is a gift from the world of colors, from the world of lines, yes, drawings. Okay. After the fall of the West Roman Empire, European literature degenerated into cultural sterility. Where did the cultural fertility start? Yes, the cultural fertility start in the Islamic world. Started. Yes, the cultural fertility started in the Islamic world. Islamic literature began to flourish while there was cultural stagnation in the West. By whom was Beit al-Hikmah set up in Baghdad? Let's see whether there is the answer. Beit al-Hikmah was set up, was established, was built under the Caliph Harun al-Rashid. How can we imagine a new revival of knowledge and learning? Of course, it is easy to imagine, but it is difficult to practice and to actualize. So we should aspire, yes, we should have an aspiration for knowledge because it is based on knowledge, learning, and practicing, applying, yes. The revival of knowledge, yes. Renaissance or revival depends on revival of knowledge, revival of learning, revival of applying, doing, performing. Okay. The house of wisdom. The House of Wisdom was a kind of university and library. What did it turn Baghdad into? It turned Baghdad into a developed city. Beit al-Hikmeh, the House of Wisdom, turned Baghdad into a cultural center like Istanbul, Kurtuba, Bukhara, Cairo, etc., etc. When did this golden age start fading away, unfortunately? Of course, it started fading away towards the end of 11th century. Okay. Literature enables us to acquire articulation and have an enlightened attitude. What else does literature enable us to be, to do, and to have? So literature also enables us an intellectual capacity and emotional good behavior, beautiful behaviors, and social benefits. So literature enables us to be intellectual, to do something emotionally, beautifully, artistically, and to have social benefits. Okay, the image says, it takes a great deal of history to produce a little literature. Literature helps us transcend ourselves as well as to go beyond ourselves. Okay. The advent of the printing press caused a revolution in reading in the past, but has caused the revolution in communication, in transportation, in almost all aspects of life. Of course, the internet and digital technologies have caused the revolution in communication, in education, in transportation, in healthcare, in administration, in companies, in commerce, in trade, in art, yes, in libraries. Okay. So social media, yes, internet, digital technologies, social media, video conferencing, artificial intelligence, they have caused together the revolution in communication today. Now, the second part of the poem by ChatGPT on literature and history. Okay. The gift of words, a poet's legacy. Immortal words, the key to be free. But golden ages, like tides, do wane, do fade away. As time's relentless, even changing reign. Literature, it enlightens our minds, ignite. In thoughts and actions, it takes its flight. A revolution in reading, the press did bring, but in communication, it's the written word spirit. Thank you for now, and see you next time in another new topic discussion. Bye for now.